Also, would you guys look at this cute little denim set for Ozzy? In case you guys want to see him in it. Is that not so cute? Yes! Let's see him. Yes, follow!
The Indiana Fever just proved something that will make every Caitlin Clark and Fever fan burst with pride. While they're injured, Star watched from the sidelines. Her teammates didn't just step up, they dominated. The Fever crushed the Las Vegas Aces by 27 points. No one saw this coming. Indiana hadn't beaten Vegas since 2019. They were missing key players. And it felt like the refs had A'ja Wilson on speed dial. But Kelsey Mitchell, Aliyah Boston, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Ari McDonald, and Natasha Howard had other plans. Just wait until you hear the 3 words Mitchell said after the game, words that perfectly captured this magical moment. If you support the Fever, comment, "I've got the fever, let's go."
We just made sure that our energy was high, made sure that we were focused, because obviously we know Vegas is a great team and they're a team full of winners. And so for us, to make sure that we turn the page off of a great Commissioner's Cup success, and then we have to be ready for Vegas. And we're
McDonald back on the attack, lays it in. Mitchell, beautiful pass. 2 more for Boston. Oh, catch and shoot. Connects. Here's Mitchell left wide open, and Mitchell catches it with McDonald turns the corner and gets to the rim.
Picture the worst possible scenario for a basketball team heading into a big game. You're up against the reigning MVP and the defending champions. Your best player is injured. A key veteran has left the team. Your depth players are overseas, playing international basketball. This was the exact nightmare the Indiana Fever faced before taking on the Las Vegas Aces.
No updates outside of she's out tonight. So just continuing to work and get her progress and make sure there's no setbacks.
With the start-stop nature of you guys this season to this point, having 5 in a row at home right here, what kind of opportunity do you view that as for the rest of your year?
I mean, I think it's a great opportunity for us. Sleep in your own beds for a while, play some games at home, in our home arena with this crowd. It is a great opportunity, but you also can't take the opportunity that you're playing at home for granted, right? We still got to come with that energy, that effort, that high attention to detail, intentional focus, and we've got to build.
Caitlin Clark's groin injury couldn't have come at a worse time. The superstar who had completely transformed the Fever's identity was stuck on the bench in street clothes. Clark wasn't just their leading scorer, she was their engine, their playmaker, the floor general who made everyone around her better. Without her lightning-fast pace and court vision, the Fever had to completely rethink how they played. The team that once thrived on fast breaks and three-point shooting suddenly looked lost, scrambling to find a new identity.
And her status, just how did she look? How did she feel today during shoot-around? And is she making progress and getting closer playing?
She's making progress. I think, again, top of mind, I think I told you this afternoon, is just long-term. Making sure that we don't have any setbacks. Making progress and feeling good are 2 different things, and we want to make sure that she feels good. We want to make sure that she's confident. We want to make sure that we're not putting her in a position to have any setbacks, and that's the priority right now.
But that's not all. Dana Bonner decided to leave the team right when they needed veteran leadership the most. Talk about terrible timing. She walked away from her teammates just as they were preparing for their biggest games of the season. The Fever were already thin on experienced players, and losing another veteran left them scrambling to fill roster spots and adjust rotations. Meanwhile, Darius Dantos was representing Brazil in the FIBA AmeriCup, taking away crucial depth when they desperately needed bodies.
Interested in hearing how you feel about beating Las Vegas. You've been through a lot of them.
Yeah, I was reminding the team, I was like, it's been since 2000-something since I've been here. But, on the bright side is that, organizations go through certain things. There's lulls in every part of life, and I think for us in the Fever, it was our time.
And here's where it gets interesting. The Fever weren't just battling their own problems, they were about to face A'ja Wilson, the reigning MVP, in the middle of another dominant season. Wilson and the Aces had been the gold standard in the WNBA for years. This wasn't just any opponent. This was the team that had beaten Indiana in every single matchup since 2019. 5 straight years of losses. The Aces had owned the Fever, and everyone knew it.
Here's Kelsey. Mitchell flips it to Howard, who lays it in. And Indiana's offense humming here in the opening 3 minutes. She hit 3 threes in that win on Tuesday. Her high on the season. Mitchell, shifty, gets to the rim.
Oh, it's the rescreen by Boston, and then this is rhythm here. Screen, rescreen, the twist action, the switch, and then watch the bump right here. Once you get the defender right next to you.
The sold-out crowd at Gainbridge Fieldhouse created an electric atmosphere, but even the most optimistic fans had to wonder how their depleted team could compete. The Fever were coming off a huge win against Minnesota that earned them their first Commissioner's Cup championship, but this felt different. This felt impossible. The odds were so heavily stacked against Indiana that most experts had already written them off before tip-off. What no one realized was that this perfect storm of adversity was about to spark something magical. Sometimes, a team has to be backed into a corner to discover what they're truly capable of. And the Fever were about to find out just how much they could accomplish when everything seemed hopeless.
Coming off a big Commissioner's Cup win Tuesday, the Fever emphasized coming into this one how important it was to keep moving forward, to keep the train on going, to not have a hangover in maybe more ways than one, and they did not. It was a dominant display, bigger than I can ever remember here in recent memory with the Fever, especially when the star player was.
The numbers told a brutal story about what happens when a team loses its heartbeat. Without Caitlin Clark orchestrating the offense, the Fever looked like a completely different team. The fast-paced, high-scoring style that had made them so exciting to watch vanished overnight. Gone were the lightning-quick transitions and crisp ball movement that Clark brought in their place. The Fever looked stuck in slow motion.
What have you seen the last two games in particular against the Wings and the Lynx of the growth of this team without Caitlin on the floor?
I think first and foremost, defensively we've been better. And that's continuing to build consistency in our coverages. Have a high attention to detail in everything that we do. I think our activity, our awareness has been better. On the defensive end as well. We've done a better job of protecting the paint. Now we've still got to improve in defending.
The pace of play dropped significantly without Clark's ability to push the ball up the court after every rebound and steal. Games that once flew by at breakneck speed suddenly felt sluggish. The Fever went from averaging over 90 points per game with Clark to struggling to hit 80 without her. Their offensive rhythm was completely disrupted. Players who had thrived in Clark's system looked lost, forced to create their own shots without her playmaking presence.
And I think offensively, the ball's moving. Multiple players are touching it. We're getting it from side to side, getting it inside, outside. It's moving a little bit quicker. Our goal is to get to where we play .5 basketball. And when we're at our best, it's moving and it's popping, and ball movement and player movement as well.
But that wasn't all. The ball movement became predictable and stagnant. Clark's incredible court vision and passing ability had made everyone around her better. Without her threading passes through tight windows and finding open teammates, the Fever's offense turned one-dimensional. Players held the ball too long, searching for shots that weren't there. The beautiful team-oriented basketball they played with Clark dissolved into isolation plays and forced attempts no one felt. That shift more than Aliyah. The talented center who once dominated in college wasn't getting nearly enough touches to showcase her inside game. Her skill set depends on having a point guard who can feed her the ball in scoring position, and without Clark's playmaking, that connection vanished. Instead of operating in the paint where she thrives, Boston often found herself stuck on the perimeter, waiting.
What are some of the keys that you see as to how exactly you're going to do that, or what you guys need to do to approach the game successfully?
Yeah, I think we've got to be disruptive. We've got to make sure that we play with a level of physicality that doesn't allow them to just pass the ball around everywhere that they want to pass it. So we've got to make sure that we're disruptive. We got to make sure that we're elite at our on-ball screen defense. This is a team that reads really well, that moves really well. We got to be elite at the point of attack on on-ball screen defense. We've got to always talk about guarding our yard, being able to guard one-on-one so we're not in rotation early. I think for us it's going to have to start on the defensive end of the floor so that allows us to get out and run in transition as well. But we can't allow them to just do exactly what they want to do on the offensive end.
Here's where it gets interesting. Teams had figured out how to defend the Fever without Clark. Opponents packed the paint, knowing there wasn't a deadly three-point threat to worry about. They pressured other players to create their own offense, confident they wouldn't have to deal with Clark's incredible range stretching the floor. Against elite competition like the Aces, the Fever looked ordinary. The team was searching for its identity and struggling to find consistent scoring from multiple players, but Kelsey Mitchell had been preparing for this exact moment. She had 3 powerful words in mind that would define what was about to happen. The atmosphere at Gainbridge Fieldhouse was electric as game time approached, and everything was about to change.
They never trailed. They got up as many as 27 points in this one. They kept their pedal down, which is important given what we've seen this season, en route to an 81-54 win. Complete dominance. They pummeled this Las Vegas Aces team. It was a 27-point win, and it wasn't even close after the first quarter. Once again, the Fever owned that second quarter in a big way. They outscored the Aces 25-10, which allowed them to go into halftime on top by 22.
What happened next will go down as one of the most stunning performances in Fever franchise history. From the opening tip, there was something different in the air at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Fever came out with an intensity that caught everyone off guard. This wasn't the same team that had been struggling without their star player. These players looked locked in and ready to prove something.
In the backcourt, they get it into Evans. You don't often see that by a team up by 18, and it pays off.
The defensive pressure was immediate and relentless. Indiana switched everything, doubled A'ja Wilson every time she touched the ball, and forced the Aces into uncomfortable shots. The Fever were flying around the court, getting their hands on every pass and making Las Vegas work for every single possession. Players who had looked lost on offense suddenly found their purpose on defense. The energy was contagious, and the crowd could sense something special was happening.
Look, we held them 26% from the floor. Nice. We got a couple of milestones. AB, fifth Fever all-time career rebound. And Kelsey, 700 career assists. Thanks for making me look good. I appreciate it. Gosh, 52nd career double-double.
But here's where it got interesting. The referees seemed determined to keep A'ja Wilson in the game with some questionable calls. She was getting the superstar treatment, soft fouls, phantom whistles, and Fever fans let the boos rain down. Every time Indiana built momentum, the whistle seemed to go in Wilson's favor. The refs were clearly giving the reigning MVP a special whistle, but the Fever refused to let it break their spirit.
And I hope that you sense, you see, and you feel when we play that kind of defense, the difference that it makes. Defense travels, defense wins games, defense wins championships. We were great on the boards as well. Continue to buy into that elite level defense consistently every day. That is our standard. That is our standard.
Kelsey Mitchell had other plans. She came out scorching hot from beyond the arc, hitting shot after shot with defenders draped all over her. Mitchell wasn't just scoring, she was hitting clutch buckets that extended the lead every time the Aces tried to rally. Her confidence was infectious, and her teammates fed off her energy. Mitchell looked like a player who had been waiting her entire career for this moment.
Here's Kelsey Mitchell, flips it to Howard, who lays it in. And Indiana's offense humming here in the opening 3 minutes. He hit 3 threes in that win on Tuesday. They're high on the season. Mitchell, shifty, gets to the rim.
Oh, it's the rescreen by Boston, and then this is rhythm here. Screen, rescreen, the twist action, the switch, and then watch the bump right here. Once you get the defender right next to you, Pat.
That's Boston's 5th rebound here tonight. He is 6th in the league on the glass coming into the night. Mitchell, beautiful pass. 2 more for Boston.
Watch this right here. Just the pitch back, the ball screen, the shake-up, throw over the top.
So it's an 8-1 run to start the 3rd quarter here for Las Vegas. Bounce pass inside. Mitchell lays it in. What a finish.
What a finish.
Aliyah Boston finally got the touches she'd been craving all season. With improved ball movement and teammates actively looking for her in the post, she dominated inside. Boston scored over Wilson, grabbed rebounds, and played with the aggression. That made her a force in college. She looked like the player everyone knew she could be when given the chance to play her natural game.